Alrighty, ninjas and ninjas, in this third video in our competitor analysis series, we're going to be looking at analysing your competitors' pay-per-click. And again, the goal of this series is show you a process that you can use to analyse your competitors and find their strengths and weaknesses. The first video looked at analysing your competitors' websites. The second video, we looked at analysing your competitors' SEO. In this third video, we're looking at analysing their pay-per-click. And then in the final video, we will look at social media. Okay, so as before, we're going to be using the example of Event Equipment Hire London, and we're going to be pretending that we are launching a new website in this space. Well, actually not pretending, we actually are launching a new website in this space, which is why I had these tabs open. So from a pay-per-click perspective, first thing that we want to do when we know that we're going to be targeting a phrase like this is we want to search for it in Google, because this is going to give us a bit of context as to the sort of ads that we're going to be up against and the sort of landing pages and businesses that we're going to be competing with. So the first thing that we're going to do is have a look inside Google. Then we're going to have a look at some of these competitors and we're going to run them through SEMrush to have a look and see what sort of ads they're running and the phrases, the other phrases that they're targeting, because all of this can be really useful data for us so that we can know which phrases we want to be targeting as well. Okay, so Event Equipment Hire London, we can see 4 Google ads at the top, which means it's a fairly competitive commercial search. We've also got some at the bottom as well. Okay, the first ad that we can see here is for Amps Limited. Let's just have a look at that. So I'm going to open all of these. In fact, let me just shut these. Just shut down some of these, and we're going to open up each of these in a new tab. Don't worry about costing them a little bit of money for the clicks. It's just all part of the game. So the first site here is Amps Limited. Let's just have a look at that. We can even see, well, we can see immediately the ABC Hire. You can see that one there. Homepage title is the word home. So from an SEO perspective, that's a complete disaster. We'll have a look at them in a bit more detail in just a minute. But let's have a look at the Amps website first of all. Then we're going to come back and have a look at their ad. So the event equipment hire phrase that we searched for, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing design and production, AV services, dry hire, video production. So this is not what we were expecting at all. Most of the time when you search for event equipment hire, you're actually seeing like catering equipment, right? And that's all of these organic terms. So that's what Google has decided people mean by this term. So the fact that they're advertising for this tells us immediately that they're targeting the wrong phrases. This is unlikely to be profitable for them. The other reason it's unlikely to be profitable for them is because there's no call to action. And because there's no call to action, there's no trackable result. What happens when somebody clicks on this ad? Well, they've got absolutely no idea. The fact is that this ad is probably, or these keywords that they're targeting, absolutely not going to be generating them any business whatsoever, but they've got no way of knowing that because they're not tracking a conversion. So a much more sensible approach for them to take would be to have some kind of contact form, a clickable phone number, a Google Ads trackable number with a very clear call to action that says something like, if you're looking for event equipment hire London, if you're looking for event equipment hire in London, filling details there, one of our team will be in contact to give you a quote, something really basic like that, a good first step call to action. Then when people fill in that form, you'd be able to track that. When someone clicks on the link to call, you'd be able to track that. When someone calls a number, you'd be able to track that. So they'd at least get some data back that would tell them that this isn't working. At the moment, they're flying completely blind. They don't realize that they've probably been flying into a mountain for as long as they've been running this particular keyword because they're not tracking anything. So this is immediately good news if you see that your pay-per-click competitors are, well, it's kind of good news, bad news. It's good news in the sense that they're not actually competitors at all. So if you did run an ad in this space, you would be in a pretty good place. But it's bad news in the sense that this appears to be dumb money just thrown at a wall, and it can be a little bit expensive when you're competing against people who are just happy to pump money into a big black hole without checking what they're getting back. And in fact, actually, if we have a look at all of these, it looks like, other than ABC Hire, it looks like the others actually aren't particularly relevant either. So we've got a venue advertising for that phrase here, and we've got conference equipment hire, which is not necessarily what this is. So if in doubt, have a look and see what Google is ranking organically, because that tends to be the stuff that that tends to be what people are looking for. And you get phrases like this every so often where you might think event equipment hire, okay, that could be AV. Actually, if you have a look at it, it's all used by catering equipment. There's another client that we've got. If you search for estimating software, for example, you might think that's a fairly broad term. Actually, it turns out that almost everyone who searches for estimating software is looking for electrical estimating software. They're actually electricians and they're looking to spec and they want software that's allowing them to do that. So it's another one of those businesses where you want to run a Google search just to check each of the keywords to make sure that actually they're not completely owned by a different space, because these guys are actually targeting totally wrong phrases. Okay, ABC hire, that does look to be an actual catering equipment hire business. This website is appalling, obviously. I mean, you would give the design probably a 1 out of 10. They don't even have a logo. Not particularly great. There's no call to action anywhere. You can't even see, we've got contact details there. And we can click to email them if we like. It'd be much better to have a contact form, then you can track the submissions, obviously, but we've just decided not to do that. So I'm only imagining that they expect people to go through and add all of these and somehow go through to a checkout, which is not easy to do. Yeah, this is a complete disaster. Again, they're not going to be tracking anything, which is why they don't know that this website is a complete waste of money. But yeah, eventually they're going to snap and it's not going to work for them. Well, it's not working for them anyway, but eventually they're going to snap and they're going to realize it's not been working for them. Okay, so poor ad number 2, check. The third ad here is a venue, and again, event equipment hire is really not relevant at all. No call to action, which is why they don't know that this is a dumb keyword to be targeting. And then here we have CVS, which also looks like AV equipment hire. Again, not relevant and not being tracked either. Brilliant. Okay, let's have a look and see if we've got anybody who's actually relevant for this term. We've got complete disco kit. We've got contemporary event furniture, which is a little bit closer. I mean, the thing that you'd give these guys, at least they're talking about what they do in the ad. So if they're not relevant, you're not going to click on them. Okay, whereas some of these, event equipment hire for all events, if you just saw that, you'd just click on it because it seems to represent exactly what you do. They haven't been specific enough, so then they're going to be paying for that click, because they haven't been specific enough in the title. Apple catering hire definitely is a proper competitor, so let's have a look at them. So let's have a look and see what the call to action is on this site. So again, we're sending people through to the homepage, not ideal. I've just searched for event equipment hire, so I really want a page which is optimized for that term. We've got big pictures, which is nice, but actually I need to know a bit of info. I need to know where you're based. I need to know who you're selling to. Are you selling to just brides and grooms? Do you do corporate events? I'm not sure. We've got this stuff here. All right, so we've got this stuff. It's below the fold, and there's no visible indicator that there's anything below the fold, so that's a bit of a shame. But this text, to be fair to them, this text is fairly descriptive, so that's quite good. Then where's the call to action? What are we supposed to do? Well, obviously we're supposed to call, but you would never guess that by the fact that they put the thing that you are supposed to do right at the bottom of the site rather than at the top. If it's the most important thing, good idea to put it at the top. So we've kind of wandered into analyzing their websites, but it's really important because if these are the companies that you're going up against spending money on PPC, you don't want to be going up against people who are super switched on and who have really dialed in conversion optimization, who've been running PPC for years and years, and they get their CPAs as low as possible, if you can help it. Well, here we can see that we're definitely not going up against that. We're going up against people who are flying blind. We're going up against, in pay-per-click terms, Unfortunately, they are very, very basic, aren't they? So we would be quite confident in a market like this that we'd be able to get much better cost per acquisition than any of these companies. So not going to be massively useful analyzing the ads that these businesses have been running, because they've just been, as I say, throwing crap against the wall, and probably none of it's been sticking, but they're not tracking, so they've got no idea. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to have a look at Yahire. They were the most dialed in by a long way from the SEO side of things. So we're going to have a look and see what they're doing with their pay-per-click and some of the ads that they are targeting. So again, in SEMrush, which is the tool that we use for our PPC analysis, and you can get a free trial of SEMrush at thankyoninjas.com. With SEMrush, we can stick in their details and we can see the ads that they've been running, the keywords that they've been targeting, and we can see all sorts of stuff here. So we can see what they've been doing over time. They're not running a huge campaign. SEMrush is estimating that they're only really spending about £170 per month on their PPC. So their SEO is doing really well. So it's no surprise that they're not having to spend a huge amount on their PPC. We can see the keywords that they've been targeting here. So exhibition furniture hire London, quite an interesting phrase. They're sending that through to the home page. So if we have a look at the home page, let's have a look at the home page. So we're going through to here. So imagine that you've just searched for exhibition hire, equipment hire London. Does this give you what you need? I really don't think so. You probably want to send people through to the exhibition equipment hire if possible. It's probably going to be under event accessories, something like that, perhaps. Not sure that that's a really relevant phrase. Let's have a look at the ad that they're running. Event furniture for exhibitions, conferences, and corporate events. Yes, you definitely don't want to send through to the homepage for that. You want to send through to the furniture page. Interestingly, event furniture hire is the only real kind of event phrase, like catering type stuff. And actually doesn't look like they're running any ads for the catering side at all. So quite interesting. Two possibilities if you see a competitor who's not running ads for phrases that you think they should be running for. Either it means that they've tested it and it's just not worked for them, or it means they haven't tested it because they're either lazy or they don't know or they don't want to run Google Ads or whatever. Either way, you want to test it for yourself because you might get some very different data to them based on your website and how good you are at running ads. So quite interesting. They've been fairly soft here. Let's have a look at some of the other sites that are ranking in this space. Let's just go for Event Hire UK and have a look and see if they've been running some ads. They had one of the more content heavy pages that were ranking on Google. So let's stick them into SEMrush and have a look and see what sort of ads they've been doing. Okay, they haven't been doing very much either. If we don't get much, then we're going to change to a different sort of term. So let's just go for catering. Equipment hire London, see if we get any different ads. Okay, here we go. So we've got PKL. Let's have a look at that one. Let's see what sort of ads they've been running. Okay, much better. And we've got a clear call to action here, which is request a brochure. So that's a nice solid term to be, a nice solid call to action to be using. So let's stick in PKL. We've got 201 clicks per month here, a bit of a larger campaign here. So we're targeting phrases like commercial kitchen rentals. They're targeting the phrase commercial kitchen and they're offering commercial kitchen rental. Now this is going to be a really informational phrase. Lots of people could be searching for commercial kitchen that have no intention of renting it at all. So not usually the sort of thing that you'd want to go after. Prefabricated extensions, again, absolutely nothing to do with what they do at all. Not the sort of thing that you want to go for. Modular kitchen, too informational, really not a good idea. Yes, they're building them, but there's also going to be other people who are searching for that type of stuff. German kitchen brands. Ugh. So again, they're taking quite a wide shotgun approach to this. It's really not going to be earning them the sort of ROI that they need. You can see some of these. I'm filming this in December 2018, so hopefully some of these have they've stopped advertising for because they've been tracking the number of brochure requests that they get. But yeah, not good really. Kiosk for sale. There's a lot of junk in here. Now, the downside of advertising for phrases which really aren't relevant to you, well, there's a whole bunch of downsides, but the main downside is that you're wasting budget on those clicks rather than the people that you really want to buy. So if you're going into a pay-per-click campaign to begin with, it's a good idea to be really, really laser focused. You can always broaden afterwards, but if you go after phrases which you're pretty sure are going to be used by people who are searching for something to buy, then you're on a much better chance of success than if you go in really, really broad. A phrase like kitchen hire, could be really, really broad, and it could eat up a lot of your budget, which means that actually some of these more competitive and more useful phrases don't really get a look in because that budget is already gone. The other downside of targeting phrases like that is it can really affect your quality score. So quality score is a metric used by Google Ads to judge how much you should be paying for your ads and where your ads should appear. So if you're targeting a bunch of phrases that aren't relevant, people are clicking on them and then they're immediately leaving your site and going back to the search results, that's going to really impact your quality score. So it's a good idea to be targeting phrases which are only searched by your target audience. So let's go back to Google, and what we're going to do is just have a look at some of the text and some of the layout of these ads to see if there's any low-hanging fruit here. So we can see a few things. We can see ad extensions. So ad extensions are things like this phone number. You can see here some site link extensions. You can see more site link extensions here. Sometimes you will see review extensions where it will show review stars. You might see address extensions. You might see even call to action extensions. You've got things like this, which these are like call outs or feature extensions where you can actually write some of the features that your product has and get those showing up. So there are plenty of different types of extension. On the whole, they increase your click-through rate, so they make more people click on your ad. So generally you want to use them because, again, higher click-through rate generally leads to higher quality score, which can lower the price that you have to pay for your ad. So use as many extensions as you possibly can. Make sure they're all relevant. The other thing to do in your ad is to be really clear about what people are going to get when they get through to the page. So having a very clear call to action, telling them exactly what to expect. So for example here, what they might say is, huge range of commercial catering equipment for hire delivered to your site. Order our brochure online now, or download a brochure now. And one of these site link extensions could be that. The great thing about that is if I click on that as a visitor, what am I tuned to look for when I land on that page? Well, of course, I'm tuned to look for the thing I've just clicked on. I'm tuned to look for that brochure. That's what I think I'm getting when I get on the page. So I'm naturally going to be more likely to click on the download a brochure button. And also it means that the people who are going to be attracted to the ad are going to be the ones who are more commercially, they're more likely to turn into a customer. So be very clear in your ad, make sure you include a call to action, be very descriptive. If there's anything that stands you apart from your competitors, that's a good thing to include in the ad. So here you can see free return dirty, which might not mean much to you if you don't know about catering equipment, but it basically means you don't have to wash up at the end, which by my books is definitely a win. So yeah, including those sorts of things, 25 years experience, you got a bit of credibility there, competitive pricing. You could be a bit sharper on that if you're able to offer a price match guarantee. That's usually more compelling. But those are the sorts of things to look out for in your ad. So make sure you're using extensions, make sure you're being very descriptive, including your call to action, and then make sure obviously that you're targeting the sort of phrases that actually people are going to be buying from and you're not going too general, because that can chew up a lot of your budget. So those are some of the ways that you would analyze your competitors' pay-per-click.